Hi, Elizabeth Dankoski here, founder of the Dream School Project. I wanted to stop in today and share a little story with you that is one of my favorites from all the students that I've worked with over the years. This is a story about Brandon. He was a student who came to me when he was right in the middle of his senior year. He had just gotten the results back from his early decision application. He had applied to Cornell at the School of Engineering, and he ended up getting deferred sent to the regular decision pile. And he came to me, this was right before Christmas, and he said, "Oh my gosh, is there anything that I can do for my regular decision round?" So I took a look at his application, and right away I could see what was going on. He had decent grades, he had good test scores. They weren't perfect by any means, but he had good enough grades, good enough test scores to get in. And then I took a look at his essay, his personal statement, and I knew exactly what had happened. So the deal was that on his resume, he had put that he had a farmer's market position. He'd also listed that he was in robotics. So I knew that he was interested in programming, that he was bent towards engineering, that he had volunteered at this farmer's market. And his essay ended up being about how he had built an app for his farmer's market position. And it was beautifully written. He was a beautiful writer, lyrical, poetic, but basically a very beautiful, poetic version of his resume. So I said to him, you know what, we need to find something that's much more personal, something that really reveals something that we can't tell from any other part of your application. So we talked together, and in about 45 minutes, this beautiful story came out. And this is what had happened. When he was in 9th grade, he had joined the debate team. And he was not a natural debater. He didn't think fast on his feet. He wasn't one of those kids who loved to argue. He was always standing at the back of the room, feeling kind of awkward and left out. And, this was a pretty cutthroat, endeavor that he was involved in, and he just didn't fit in. He wasn't the cutthroat kind of guy. So, but he hung in there with it because he didn't want to quit. But then in sophomore year, he decided, you know what, let me check out robotics. Let me see what that's like. And he loved it. He walked in, everybody was getting ready for a competition, but they were like, hey, handing him a screwdriver. Do you want to try this with us? What do you think we should do? Like really including him. And he's like, yeah, this is my jam. I want to do this. So he ended up staying with that, loving it, went on to become the captain of the team. But that wasn't the real story. The story was that he never forgot his experience in the debate team. So he was always turning around and looking behind him to say, what do you guys think we should do? And do you have any questions? And I was like, oh my gosh, you have to tell that story, because what's the stereotype of an engineer? Someone who doesn't even notice that other people are around him. So I was like, tell that story. They need you at Cornell School of Engineering. So he wrote this whole new essay, and he sent it to Cornell in the form of a letter. And then he ended up sending that same essay to his regular decision applications. And when the results came out that spring, he not only got into Cornell, but he also got into MIT. He's actually now a senior at MIT, and he's interning at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory. And I love this story because it tells the power of communicating who you really are and how powerful that can be when it comes to the applications and the power of telling the right story. So this is something that my team and I this is just one of our areas of genius. It's something we love to do. We dig and dig and dig with our students to help them find the right story that really communicates who they are and what they have to offer that no one else does. And I wanted to share that story today so that you could get a feel for the kinds of work that we do with our students. I'd love to get on the phone with anyone who has questions. If you want to know how I could help your student or how my team can help your student really stand out and find the most meaningful, heartwarming story about who your child is and what they have to bring to the world, just send me an email. Reach out. I'd love to connect with you. We'll hop on the phone and we'll get a feel for where your child's at and what kind of stories are really waiting to be told. All right. Bye for now. I'll be back soon with another video to share with you some tips on the college admissions process.